Good morning from something sweet. We are 1 week from Christmas. Can you believe that? It feels like it just gets here so much quicker than we think. I'm really in overkill now. I've done all the things I've absolutely got to do, and now I'm just going to do some things that are just fun. Some of them are experiments that I've never done before. So we'll see how they turn out, and we'll kind of go through that a little bit at a time through the next couple of days. Buttercream. Let's talk about buttercream for a minute. I only knew about one kind of buttercream for the most of my life. It involved a lot of confectioners or powdered sugar and a lot of butter and a little bit of heavy cream and some vanilla. It's really all I knew about buttercream, but there are so many. I think I've read about 7 different kinds of buttercream that you can make, and I've experimented with several of them. Uh, have you ever wanted a buttercream that's a little bit lighter and silkier and not as sweet as traditional buttercream? Well, the one I'm going to work with today is called Ermine. And guess what? It's older than traditional buttercream. From what I read when I did some research about it, it was very popular in the South before the days of traditional buttercream in kitchens where things were not very plentiful. Eggs were not easy to come by, so Swiss meringue buttercream wasn't going to happen. This icing or frosting is made from ingredients that you almost always have in your kitchen already. It's a boiled frosting, a butter and flour boiled frosting. But I made it not long ago and I love it. I love the texture of it, and I love the texture of it. It's just really, really nice. It does take a little while to make. It takes longer than traditional buttercream because you have to boil the filling, let it cool, and then you add in a whole pound of butter. If you lived on a farm with a cow, I guess butter was not so hard to come by. So we'll be doing that. It takes time. That's why I'm starting with the base for this icing. It's a very traditional icing for Southern cakes like spice cake and red velvet cake, and those cakes that come very much from old Southern living recipes and recipes that come from our grandmother and from the past. So we're going to start that now, and we will add to this video because we'll have to cool this filling for probably 3 hours. Somebody's going to ask me in the comments, can you pipe it? And the answer to that is yes and no. If you want to pipe it, you have to whip it a little longer so that it gets firmer. And it's never going to be stiff and easy to pipe like traditional buttercream, but you can pipe it. What I'm going to be using this for, I'm not going to frost a cake with it. I'm going to use it as filling for several things that I'm going to make in the next couple of days that, like I said, are not needed, but I want to do it. So let's look at what we're going to need to make this icing. We're going to need 2 cups of granulated sugar. We're going to need 2/3 of a cup of plain flour. It's a thickening agent, and 2 cups of whole milk. After this is cooled completely and we're ready to whip it and get ready to use it, we're going to whip in, and I'll tell you how to do that later, a whole pound of butter. And we'll put some vanilla in there and we'll get it ready then. But we're going to start with just this. So we will, let me switch pages here to what I need. We're going to take our pot and we're going to whisk together the sugar and the flour. So we'll add those 2 things together before we put it on the heat. We'll just whisk that together so that we know it's going to make a smooth mixture. I need to add to my shopping list, like it needs more things on it. A French whisk is narrower and it gets into the corners better, but I don't have one of those. And then I'm going to pour the milk in slowly, whisking as I go to combine. Before I put this on the heat to cook it, Make sure that's all combined. I've got some dry in the corners, don't want that. When I start to cook this, I will want to stir it with a wooden spoon so that it can get all the way up in the edges. So we've got that whisked together. Then we will cook it, and I'll put it on this eye, and I'll cook it for 6 to 8 minutes until it's thick like pudding. When that has finished, I will pour it into another bowl so that we get it out of the hot pan, and I'll cover it with saran wrap, and I'll push it down so that the entire surface, like when you do any kind of pudding, you don't want a film to form on the top of it. And then I'll sit it on the counter and it will cool for about 3 hours. So this afternoon, when we have things ready that need icing, this will be cool and we can finish making it. So I'm going to put this on the eye and start to cook it, and I will bring you back and show you what it looks like when it thickens. All right, we cooked this until it's thick like pudding, and now we're going to get it out of this hot pan, and we're going to pour it into another bowl because it doesn't need to sit and cook any longer in that pot. We're going to get all of that out of there. I think if you absolutely had to have this cool quicker, you could put it in the refrigerator. But best case scenario, you let it sit out. You can see what it looks like in this bowl. It's just like a thick bowl of pudding. We are going to take plastic wrap. I have a love-hate relationship with plastic wrap, but what we need for this, and we're going to put it on the top, not just on the top of the bowl. We're going to press it down. You can see, make sure it covers every bit of the edge. All right, we've got that completely covered in saran wrap. We're going to set it aside, and it'll take about 3 hours to get to room temperature so that we can finish the icing. So we'll see you back then. Hi. I know I've said before that I'm struggling a little bit with storage space on my phone. I think I've got that worked out, but still struggling a little bit. And yesterday when we were making the Ermine buttercream, I ran out of storage and I had to go ahead and finish making that frosting without videoing it. So I'm just going to kind of walk you through how we finished it. We're going to use that. We used it to fill some Christmas tree cakes that I made yesterday. We're going to use it to fill some whoopie pies that I'm making this morning, and we'll still have it. I had some cake left over, and I've got that in the freezer, and I may use some of that to make some cake pops later because it'll keep for a while. I don't think we need them before Christmas. So when I left you yesterday in the video, we had taken the cooked custard and put it in a bowl, covered it with plastic wrap so that it wouldn't form a film, and left it sitting on the counter until it got absolutely to room temperature. It took about 3.5 hours for that to happen. When it did, we got our stand mixer, and in the bowl we put in 4 sticks of butter and a little bit of salt and a little bit of vanilla. And we beat that until it was all creamed together. And then we started adding that custard a couple of tablespoons at a time. And we beat it and we beat it and we beat it until we got all of that mixed in. And then we continued to beat it for another few minutes until it got light and fluffy. In a few minutes, I'm going to use some of that icing to fill some whoopie pies, and I will add some of that to this video so that you can see what it looks like. It's not very sweet, so if you're putting it between 2 very sweet cookies, or if you're putting it on a very sweet cake, it's a really good option. It takes longer than traditional buttercream, but it's very much worth the wait. Thank you for being patient with me. I hope you and yours are having a wonderful holiday season. Please subscribe if you haven't. Like this video. Tell me your Christmas memories. I'm interested in each of you, and I appreciate each and every one of you for the support that you've given me in this new endeavor.